V'hinei achshav hatfila b'makom korbanos. Now, the tefillah nowadays is in place of the sacrifices. That is, that you sacrifice, you bring up your animalistic soul, that it should be included in its source in the holy animals and the angels. And there's a fire from below, that it's a mitzvah to bring a fire and light one on your own. Or Parshas Miketz, like it's brought in Torah or Dibbur HaMaskil Inyan Chanukah Shu Inyan Ha'ava Shadam Lokeach Machmas HaOlamos Mebechinas Malchuso Yisborech. It's a concept of Asolam. You have a love that a person takes because of the worlds from the concept of Hashem's kingship, or through that his bonus. Ulachin Gam Asar Memoros, therefore also the 10 statements, Yihi or Yihi Rakia, let there be light, let there be a firmament, Nikra Bezor Lav Ohr Hatorah Malka. It says in the Zohar that it's not the way of the king, Lishtai B'milin Dehedyot Chulu, to talk about mundane matters. That the 10 statements are like mundane matters in comparison to the Asar Sedibros, I guess. V'achakach Eish Lamayla. So that's ha-hedyot. That's lahavim na hedyot. So asar memoros are like a hedyot. You're bringing from that fire from below. And then you have a fire from above. Zeu avarabo. That's like a great love. Hanim shechmai zbonunus batzmus izborich. That comes from the contemplation about the essence. May be blessed. The leis machshavat tfisa beklal, that there's no thought that can grasp him at all. And it's not in the category of worlds at all. It's not milin de hejot. And the animalistic soul is included also in this fire that comes from above. Just like the korban olah, that you have to first sanctify it with your speech. So too you have the idea that before you offer up your animalistic soul, you also have to, with speech, sanctify, and that's the Parshas Tamid, and the Psukei Zimra that you say before Kriya Shema, which is when you offer up your animalistic soul with the fire of love. And you do Hashem Kol Masecha, and to that all your acts should praise you, like the concept of the Lahavim Na Hedyot, the Asar Memoros. Calls man sheneshama b'kirbi modani l'fanecha chulu, that all time that my neshama is inside me, I will acknowledge in front of you, and so forth. Aluka, alali nafshis Hashem. You say to sing a song of my soul to Hashem, which corresponds with Malchus upwards. Halal Hashem b'chayai. I will sing to Hashem with my life. So that's the divine soul. And I will sing to Hashem with my ode, with my body. Ode davar hatafel, that is the subservient thing. Like, for example, it says Yehuda. Do you have a pasuk from Yehuda? Do you also need a subservient pasuk? So that corresponds with the animalistic soul. So you're saying that you're singing to Hashem with the goof. So that's the the hakdasha of the korban of your animalistic soul upwards. So too, when you say the song to Hashem from the heavens, so hallelu kol tzvav, you say you should praise Hashem, all of his hosts. Meaning to say the malachim of and that includes the animalistic soul, that's praising Hashem upwards. That its source is from the animals of their merkava. So when it says the animals and all the wild animals, Yalu Hashem will praise Hashem, that includes the nefesh Bahamis as well. So I guess any mention of the concept of animals of behemoths and Psukei Zimra is also, you have to apply it to yourself. Gam kemosh kosab dibur hamaschil hamabihi lasheves. So too, like it says in the Mamar about Hashem's inside of Samach Dalad Amud Beis, Zelashonu, and this is what it says: Sham mitzvah yesh l'sigula pratis lahalus is nefesh abam ischulu, that a mitzvah has a particular ability to lift up the animalistic soul. L'chein lo v'shim talis v'tfilin kodem atfila, and that's why we wear talis and tefillin before davening, which come from animals, the wool and the leather. L'hamshich b'chinas makif l'mayla, to draw down an encompassing light from above. Lahalus is nefesh abam ischulu ein sham, to elevate the animalistic soul. So that's the segula of the mitzvah, to elevate the animalistic soul, because especially because it comes from the animals as well. B'chol zeh yuven ma shekasuv tzama nafshi lelukim lekel chai masay avavei pnei elukim tilim simin mem beis gimel. With all this, you can understand what it says, that my soul thirsts for Elukim, to the living Hashem. When will I come and see the face of Elokim? Sanhedrin Vav Daf Mem Gimel Aleph Rish Ches Yalkut Chelik Beis Nun Zayin Aleph Nun Tes Beis Kuf Dal Gimel Samech Aleph Zayin Peichof Aleph Samech Ches Yudalad Bechaye Tzadik Zayin Beis Dalad Bialkut Chelik Beis Remez Shin Samech or Shiganzu Mosif Aleph Oro. So all these Mamar Komos, and then he brings from Yalkut that you have this light that's hidden, Mosif Alav Oro, Shin Mem Ches Pamim, that you add onto it light 348 times. Homim in front of Ribono Shalom, we say in front of him, Master of the world. Hainu mitzapim or that we're waiting for this light. Like it says, my soul thirsts for Elokim lekel chai, to the living Hashem. When will I come and see? Amar lahem achshav ra'isem es panai. So he says, now you'll see my countenance. So when we ask for Hashem from below, Hashem responds from above. So Yeshaya, so Remez Shin Ayin Daled, and I guess also in Yalkut, in Yeshaya, Kach Nosin Koach LeTzadikim Lekabel Tovasam, that this is how he gives strength to the tzadikim to receive their good. Shenemar Masayav Vaydaber Pnei Elokim, excuse me. He says, when will I come? Like it says, when will I come and see the face of Elokim? So this is a concept of the tzaddikim wondering when will they be able to handle the revelation from above. Amr Yisrael. So Yisrael says, when are you going to return to us the honor? That we would go up 3 times for the regel, and see the divine presence. So this is a pasuk about wanting to go back up to Yerushalayim, to the Beis HaMikdash, to see the divine presence. So the Holy One, blessed be He, says to them, that you would go up during the year 3 times, and when the time comes, you'll come up not just 3 times a year, but every single month. Like it says, and it will be each month in its month, and so forth. And so forth. All the flesh will come and bow down to Hashem. So it's a concept of having the time to come. You're right now, you're asking for the divine presence to show its countenance, and how you used to go up 3 times. Hashem answers that you're going to, in the future, not only come up those 3 times, but every month, and so forth. And in Yalkut Tehillim it says, so for them is Tafshim Mem Aleph, Amra lo eini mitzameh lo echol v'lo lishtos. It says, I'm not thirsty or hungry, not to eat, not to drink, Ella liros es panecha, only to see your countenance. My heart says, Bikshufanai, search for your countenance. Espanech Hashem avakesh, I'm searching for the countenance of Hashem. Lekach nemer masay avu ve'ira pnei Elokim. And it's Dosh on this pasuk as well. When will I come? That's why it says, when will I come and see the countenance of Elokim? Look in Medrash Tilim in this place as well. Dik mashikos Shem Elokim. It scrutinizes the fact that it says the name of Elokim, and says the fact that it says Elokim is because you can't have this revelation of the divine countenance unless you have Elokim, which is dinim, to get rid of and uproot the bad, through the name of Elokim. Now, according to Chassidus, this idea of my soul thirsts for you, when will I come and see Pirush Ba'avoda, Shebelev B'Tfilah? It explains that this is the idea of service of the heart and prayer, called Eker in Ha'inyan Hu, that the whole point of the matter is Lios True Kasanefesh B'Tzimon Rishbeyesh, to have the thirsting of the soul with a desire desire of the soul with Simonish Beyesh, with the thirst of flames of fire, lahalos, to go upwards, ulidabik, and to cleave, b'makor chotzva belukim chaim ki yedua, in its source where it's carved out of, in Elokim, in the living Hashem, as is known. That's where you want to go back upwards to, v'zeu tzam lecha nafshi, and this is what it says, my soul thirsts for you, k'omro, o k'mo b'omro, and like when he says, that you should love with all of your hearts. However, a person's coarse body stops this, stops the neshama from going upwards. However, in Shmona Esrei, Shuka Neged Korbanos HaShachar, that corresponds with the sacrifices of the morning, Ki Dua, as is known, as I mock, then you sacrifice your animalistic soul. And then you're able to go upwards and be included in Elokim. So I guess in this context, so Kriyashma is the lighting of the fire, maybe the fire from above. At any rate, so it's the nefesh is still in the body and it can't go upwards until Shmona Esrei. Shmona Esrei seems to be the conclusion of the idea of the korban. Kamaimer Yisrael ala b'machshava, like it says, the Yisrael came up in thought, and that's our source. So when we go back, we can go back up into there. So that's like the concept of Shmona Esrei, the silence of thought, and the neshama going back up into thought of Elokim. That's why it says, and I will see the countenance of Elokim. What does it mean to see? Because when you're included back up in its source, so it's an actual a vision of that kind of vision. Especially and specifically the concept of the countenance of Elokim, that is to say, the inner concept of the divinity, for example, the drop from the brain of the Father, which is the concept of the inner mind, the inner part of the mind that comes down as a drop. So when you want to go back up to the source, you go back up to the pnimis, to the inner concept. Like our sages said, what are the righteous compared to in front of the countenance of the divine presence? Like a candle in front of a great flame. Perush, and that is to say, like a small candle, that's standing close to a great flame, that its light gets included in the light of the flame, because the flame goes into its source, into the greater flame. So too the souls of Israel are drawn to their source, and are included in their truly in the countenance of Elokim. Look what's brought in the verse from Shir Shirim, that I've grasped him and I will not let him go. And that this is like the idea that me and your nation, Moshe said, will be separate and special to you, Hashem, that you're meaning to say, to go back up to the source, and the Niflinu from Lashon Pella, to go upwards into Pella, elevated to the Shoresh. And that's through the name of Elohim. That's why it says, when will I come and see the countenance of Elohim? I guess the concept of Elohim is a halam lamatal mailon as well. And for this it says, no eye saw this other than you, Elohim. But he does it for the one who waits for him. So meaning to say that this concept of this re'iyah, of this level of divinity, is only from the name of Elohim. That's the tzamal nafshi Elohim, that in elevation of the nefesh to this concept, we're able to see this level of pnimius, of pnei Elohim. It's brought on the concept of I am Hashem, lios lechem Elohim, to be for you and Elohim. It's a concept of personal attachment to divinity. Parshas and look what's brought on the verse, this rock of my heart and my portion of Elohim forever. That says about the Shmini Atzeres, Kinishin, it's a gathering, meaning the soul gets gathered upwards into its Shoresh or Kumosh, in its Borli Il B'Shem Yalkut, like we brought before, in the name of the Yalkut, Shinmem Ches Pamim, Kumo Or Sheniv Rabiyom Harishon Chulu, that this is 348 times, like the light that's created on the first day. So that's certainly the concept of going back up into the great flame, like a candle into the flame. So at first glance, the number of 70, like the light of 7 days, of 7 times, like the light of the 7 days, Ushimim Gimel Pamim, that's 343 times. So where is that extra 5 coming from? So I guess 7 times 70. V'ayin. We can say Shin Ayin Horin, that's the 370 lights and his Zohar that's mentioned in the Zohar, Kishin Mem Gimel Im Kaf Bezosius Torah, because the 343 with 22 letters of the Torah, Vimei Osius Menatzpach, and with the 5 letters of the end letters of the double letters of Menatzpach, Medukanim Legeula, that are ready for the redemption. I guess the Menatzpach have to do with the Geula as well. Hemshin Ayin Horin anyways, so that's 370 lights altogether. We do the Shin Ayin Horin Hemya Keser, and it's known that this 370 lights are from Keser, from the crown. From there is the saving is the concept of the source of redemption and saving, which is the Shin Ayin from Yeshua. And this is also the reasoning for sanctifying the korban when you say this is an olah so that it can be elevated upwards in the fire from above as well. So also we want to go back up into Keser, we want to go back up to the Shoresh, and so when we say the Harezeh Olah, it's similar to the idea of Suki Zimra, of bringing down an Or Makif so that we can bring up Neshama and the fire of Kriyashma, and to offer it up completely in Shmona Esrei, back up into the Olam HaMachshava, Al Yisrael Al B'Machshava, in the silence of Shmona Esrei and the thought of Shmona Esrei. Ketzer Bedibur. So in speech, Dafka, we have to elevate this specific, and by saying in speech specifically, because the source of speech is from wisdom, and from wisdom is purification of the nitzutzos, and to separate the nutrients of the external forces, and also the breath of speech is an encompassing light. But the question is, how can the speech and the wisdom of the person below, how can it reach the supernal speech and wisdom, to reach the level of this wisdom that purifies, because a person is far, far below the divinity. This is through loving with all your hearts, with your two inclinations. That's through with your two hearts, your two inclinations. You're elevating your animal upwards with the love of Hashem. And through this, you awaken very much above Ein Zohar Chelik Gimel Naso Kuf Mem Aleph Amud Beis Beperish Vayitzer Hashem Elokim, when it explains the idea of how Hashem creates man B'Shnei Yudin with two Yuds, V'Shem Maleh, and a name that's fully spelled. Meaning it's a concept of drawing down the Chochmah law. And on this it says, and you should be a holy people for me. Through this, we're able to draw down the holiness to the Korban because of our Shorsh and Chochmah law. So when we're Makdish Pepeh, we can draw down the Chochmah to elevate the idea of B'Chochmah Spiriru, to elevate the animal upwards. And now we have prayer in the place of the Korban. To elevate the animalistic soul in a person. When they say Shema and Shemona Esrei, Mikodem Gamkein Hachana L'zeh Hayidei Levish Talis V'Tfilin B'Sukei Zimra. And there's also preparation for this through wearing the talis and the tefillin and the Psukei Zimra. That you have the Hakdash of Bepeh is like the Psukei Zimra, and because you mentioned the concept of the behemoth and the nefesh and the odi and so forth, and the talis and the tefillin is the segula, the mitzvah that comes from the wool and the leather to elevate. That's the segula, to elevate upwards the animal. It's also the idea of that my soul thirsts for you. When will I come and see the countenance of Elohim? That this thirsting is like the fire from below of the Korban of Perish. And he explained also the idea of to see the countenance of Elohim. Ha'ara. Now this ha'ara, it says on the bottom, is added from the Guf Ksav Yad HaKodesh of the Tzemach Tzedek and the Mamar, the Siftes Yud. To the last two Sifim, concerning this idea of how the animal can be elevated up so high. Through this, that man sanctifies it first with his mouth. The concept, we can say, with the Alter Rebbe brings in the Mamar about understanding the concept of the blessing of the Chasam. Choref Tav Kuf Samach Gimel, in the winter of the year Tav Kuf Samach Gimel, Mitzvah Sachnas Askala Linyan Korban. He connects the idea of bringing a kala to the concept of the Korban, Dalidiyah Korban, Mahabehema, that through the concept of the Korban of an animal, Olashem Ban, you elevate the name of Ban, Ruach HaBehema, spirit of the animal, this lamata that goes downwards, likal bebichnes adam, to go upwards, bebichnes adam, the concept of adam, holamayla shema, which is shema, so you elevate ban into ma de atzilus, in the world of atzilus, u'aliyos haziv, shiarad bebichnes ha'atzmus, and it's the concept of elevating the glimmer that went down back into the essence. And so too, this is the idea of bringing in the kala. The kala is the concept of the ziv that goes down, the malchus that goes downwards. And achnasas kala means to elevate the kala upwards. Shigam kin bechinas malchus, which is also the concept of malchus, bechinas ziv, this concept of the glimmer. Shiarad bibiyah, that went down into the worlds of Brit. Salus bechinas chasen, tiferes b'riach hatichon, to be elevated to the concept of the groom, which is the tiferes of Atzilus, the briach hatichon, which is the middle pillar, to go upwards all the way to Kesav. Now, in order so that the bride will have the strength to be elevated so high, Shubalias ban bebichnes ma, to elevate ban, which is malchus, and into ma, which is zar, or tiferes, tzarich liozla, ezer melamayla, you need a strength or help from above. Zoinyan mitzvahs ketzad meraktin lifnei hakala. That's the idea of the mitzvah, of how do you dance in front of the bride, vinyan shushvina de matronisa, and the concept of the escorts, the escort of the bride, of the queen. So that's how you do it. You have to have the mitzvah of dancing in front of the kala and these escorts, so that there's a help to elevate it, and so too with the korban behema kadei, in order so that it should be elevated, to be included in the flame above. It has to have first a help from above, adam, from man, and that's through the sanctifying with your mouth, or that through speech, this brings down a makif, help from above, and the makif gives us strength for the animal to be elevated. So I guess there's a parallel between dancing and escorting, and the concept of escorting the bride upward with the davening as well. I guess dancing is like davening also.